Good morning, everybody, and welcome. As Brendan said, my name is Lorraine. This is me. So a little bit about me. I'm not going to go on ad nauseum. But I've been doing marketing for a really long time, and the reason that Brandon, I think, thought of me for this particular topic is that I spend a lot of time on the bleeding edge. I have the scars to prove that I've done a lot of things at the early stages, and some of them work out really well, and some of them, not so much. Trying to get a little bit better at figuring out what's working, what you should do, and what you shouldn't. And the challenge is that this stuff changes all the time. I want to start today's conversation with a little time travel. January 30th, 2020. Remember where you were? Do you remember what you thought the year was going to be like? I do. We'd come off what was one of our best years. We really felt like we knew where the software was. We knew the social platforms. The algorithms were stable. There was not a lot of disruption in the digital market. We expected a little bit of a down year because you always have that in an election year. Everybody kind of pulls in and goes, I want to see what happens with the election. But we felt pretty confident that we knew where 2020 was going to go. Yeah, then there was March. All bets are off. Okay, fast forward in time. January 30th, 2023. Remember? It was just a year ago. Again, we felt pretty comfortable. We thought we knew where things were. There was some new things on the social media horizon, but for the most part, again, we were post-pandemic. All of the winners and losers had been established. I mean, the pandemic changed companies forever. Zoom was a thing, but it wasn't a thing. GoToMeeting didn't fare quite as well. Some technologies kept up, some didn't. But 2023, we're good. Everything is good. We know where this is going to go. And then right around March of 2023, something called ChatGPT became broadly available. And once again, all bets are off. Everything you thought you knew about content creation, it's not that AI hadn't been around for a while. It's been around for years. But it became widely available. And so it was a game changer. And so with that lens, with that perspective, I'm going to talk about where I think the market is going, some trends that I think are really driving digital marketing right now. But if something happens in March, all bets are off. Okay, there's a lot that I could talk about. I picked a few things that I think are relevant. I picked a few things that on the one hand go together, but on the other hand completely fight with each other. The solutions to some of these problems kind of overlap, but these are the things that are upsetting the apple cart right now in digital marketing. Social search, zero-click, snack-sized content, and AI everywhere. So let's start with social search. Everybody, Google is synonymous with search. You don't even say you're going to look for something. You Google it. Unless, of course, you don't. Because Google is not the only game in town anymore. 30% of Gen Z prefer using social media for search. Even some of your boomers are playing with it. But this trend is accelerating. Why? Part of it is just the technology is better. You know, that was the thing about Facebook 10 years ago. They couldn't figure out the hashtag. I don't think they still haven't really gotten it down. But nobody went and used Facebook for search because their search function, oh, let's put this politely, sucked. Now, those programmers aren't any better at it, but they've bought companies that have better search. But this is becoming the reality. You're on social media. You have the apps open, whether it's Instagram. TikTok has incredibly good search capabilities. If you're looking for something specific on TikTok, you can find it with their search function. So you've got You've got more platforms. You have better search capabilities, and you cannot dismiss this because Gen Z has entered the workforce. Within the next 5 or 10 years, they're going to be, well, the boomers will be completely pushed out unless we go kicking and screaming, holding on for dear life forever. But for the most part, you're going to see this generational shift. You're going to see a significant number of these people entering the workforce and moving up. And their pattern of where do they search for information is not always Google. And so as a marketer, you need to be thinking about how do I play in that world. And there are some tricks, there's some things that you have to be doing. Some of them you're probably already doing. Some of them you may not be doing. Every social platform you're on, you need to go back and look at your profiles. You need to look at your content. Are you using keywords? Are you using phrases? Are you using hashtags? Most of the platforms are better at the hashtags now. But thinking about your social media content and optimizing it the way you optimize your website. You agonized over every word on your website because Google, you were playing to that audience. And you sort of let your social do what it did. You can't anymore. And it's not just your profile, it's your posts. As you're creating a paragraph that goes with that great image, are you thinking about what that paragraph says? If you're not, you need to. Because as social search gets better, and it will, it's going to search your content just the way Google reads your blog pages today. Just the way Google indexes your content, your social platforms will as well. And so it really puts a lot more pressure on you as a marketer to create content that is not only humanly interesting, but robot interesting. The second thing is, and I'm going to talk about some of the algorithm changes, you've got to engage your platform. All of the platforms in one way or another, or engage your community, because all of the platforms are biasing towards content that is engaging. It is not enough. If you're putting up a post every day and 2 people like it, put up a post every other day and actually talk to people so more people like it. Because your content, I mean, you've always known this, but in the age of social search, posts that no one pays attention to, no one will see. If you're not engaging your community, when the algorithm looks for, oh, look, somebody is searching for this, which of a million posts should I show? It ain't gonna be yours. No matter how keyword stuffed you are, if you put that content up there and no one is interacting with it, the algorithm is gonna go, yeah, no, next. So that's the difference really between SEO on Google and SEO on social. The additional factor is engagement. The other thing you're seeing, and this is really kind of an interesting trend, but it's fun, and I'm experimenting with it, and some of my experiments are working and some of them aren't. Tells me how good the post is. Many of the platforms are penalizing you for outbound links. We'll talk about that in the zero-click section. So how do you get around that? I want these people to talk to me. You're starting to see a lot of people going, hey, if you want to know more, DM me. You used to be able to, hey, just drop a note in the comment and then you would paste the link in the comment. You get penalized for that now. So you're seeing a lot more moving to DM me. If you want this report, send me a DM. If you want a discount code, send me a DM. What that does is it creates a much higher level of engagement with a smaller community, okay? It is frustrating because 1 million people will see your post. 5,000 might think about interacting with you, put a like or a click, and 1 person will DM you. But that one person is worth their weight in gold because they cared enough about whatever it was you were putting out there to really connect with you. So thinking about your content both from the standpoint of optimizing it for search and personalizing it for engagement. User-generated content. It's so funny when I started to see a lot of people writing about this, and this is one of those, I don't know that I would necessarily say bleeding edge because it was never really painful, but this is something I've been talking about for a decade, that the very best content you will not create. The very best content is when your community, when your users are talking about you. The easy thing, certainly testimonials and reviews, but don't stop there. Contests, just what Brandon did when he stood up here and said, hey, if you hear something you like, take a picture, put it on Instagram with our hashtag. Engaging an audience, feel free, anybody now, that would be great. You can tag me at Lorraine Ball pretty much everywhere. That opportunity, that content that is talking about your brand carries way more weight and again will be much more likely to show up in the search results. Pay attention when people are tagging you. Create the opportunities for that. I mean, I could do a whole presentation on that. I'll just leave it there. Your mission is not to write the best blog post. Your mission is to find someone in your audience that you fire up enough that they write the best blog post about you. And then the last one is you got to understand the algorithms, what their priorities are, because this is broad generalization which will work across all the platforms, but everybody's got their own game and their own rules. Big surprise, right? Let's take a look at some of them. Facebook. More so than ever, they are prioritizing groups and events. They want to be, they have always, well, they want to sell, let's be honest, they want to sell more advertising, and they have figured out the way they're going to sell more advertising is to keep you engaged, and you stay engaged, not with the brands necessarily, but the people you know and love, and the events, things that are going on. And so when you're talking about those things, that's where they're putting their priorities. They say they are experimenting with recommended hashtag listings. They keep promising that they're getting better. I am not convinced, but it doesn't hurt. You know, a decade ago, I told people, when you push content from Twitter to Facebook or from Instagram to Facebook, get rid of the hashtags because you look like an idiot, because they don't work on Facebook. They're starting to. So you don't look like as much of an idiot. And at this point, you pretty much have to do it. Instagram, you are going to see more content from profiles you don't follow. You may already have seen this. You are definitely seeing more recommended. Hey, you follow this person, you might like this. You loved these puppies with bows in their hair. Here's 5 more people who take pictures of little cute puppies with wearing bows in their hair. This is where hashtags, again, this is where following trending topics is going to be really important because you got to know what they're looking for. And they have also said expanded visibility for Reels. They want Instagram to be, even though you have the videos on Facebook, they really want the Instagram Reel to be their TikTok. And so creating Reels, I hate Reels. Because when they hit your feed, they never look good. Nobody looks good in the camera this close up. Get over it. Create Reels. Recognize that you have different content on Instagram. Somebody once told me it's like having different neighborhoods. Reels are your disposable content. Set them up so they don't hit your feed. So they don't hit your little matrix. So when people go back and look at the brand, they don't really see the Reels. They see the nice, pretty, carefully constructed images that look just so. But Reels are how you get attention. Reels are searchable. And because Instagram has said, we're going to prioritize reels. So I can be really stuck in there going, I'm not going to do reels because I don't like how they look. It's not the way I want to present my brand. Great. Ain't nobody going to see me. So reels. And when you create the reels, searchable. That little description you're putting up with the reel, go back to slide number 1. Describe what it is and more. LinkedIn, they're actually trying to deprioritize content from mega influencers. They really want, yeah, see, it's fun.
Sorry.
No, because you have 2 or 3 people that you always see, and they have 120,000 followers, and they never talk to you. And you know, I mean, and they're interesting-ish. And LinkedIn really is working very hard at creating a platform that is more focused on interaction at a more personal level. And so here more than anywhere, their search function is really good. Their search capabilities, their trending topics, they will tell you what they want. They will tell you what they want you to talk about. Just look on the sidebar. If you are not a LinkedIn creator, it is a free option add-on to your account. If you are not a LinkedIn creator, that is your first assignment. You need to go home and you need to do it now. As a creator, I can publish newsletters on LinkedIn that are mailed to my subscribers under the LinkedIn umbrella. Not under my personal email. It does not compete with my newsletter. And LinkedIn doesn't care if it's existing content. I have 20 years worth of articles. Guess what's going on LinkedIn every week? Now, I may update it. I may use ChatGPT to rewrite it. I may have to throw some of them out because I don't use that software anymore. But LinkedIn just wants good content. What should you write about? Take a look at what's trending on the sidebar. Take a look at the topics. The second thing that content creators can do, I can do LinkedIn Lives. I can stream live video to LinkedIn. Or I can schedule live video to go right, or I can schedule video to go through StreamYard and push it to LinkedIn so it looks like it's live. I get invited to contribute to LinkedIn articles. And there are 2 other benefits which escape me at this moment. But that is an absolute must because they're giving priority to their content creators. So put your hand up and apply to be a creator.
Can I ask a real quick question?
Yes.
So is that when I get on LinkedIn, hey, we want your expertise, da-da-da-da-da.
Yes.
You don't need to talk to me, you know?
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings on the collaborative articles. Sometimes they're good. Part of the problem with the collaborative articles, the idea was good. We're starting to see a lot of people popping in, going to ChatGPT, popping in the question, and then pasting their answer. So they're not as good as they were. So I would rather spend the time on getting my articles more visible. But if you're interested, you look at them, see who's writing, follow some of those people. The other thing is they are punishing outbound links. We've done it for years. LinkedIn was a great place. You put a link to you put a link to your blog post, and there was a picture. You did a little summary, and you went on with your day. Less visibility for any content that has an outbound link. The way around it used to be put the link in the comments. You know, you do the post and then you cut. No, what they're actually looking at is something called dwell time. In addition to the engagement, how long do you spend on that particular post? You read the post, watch the video. Do you read the comments? As a marketer, you need to figure out how to get comments on your posts. We're going to talk about that more in the zero-click section. Okay, so old platforms, new priorities. And some of the new platforms, they haven't really changed much this year. With Threads, it is conversation-driven content. It really is. I haven't really figured out yet where Threads is going. It is picking up momentum. It started the first 6 months on Threads. All you did was get on and answer the same question. Hey, I'm new here. What do I do? I mean, I swear to you, my feed was, hey, I'm new here. What do you do? It seems to be settling down a little bit. I don't think it's found its footing yet. What I will tell you is it has the potential to be a little bit like Twitter in the old days, which was kind of happy, fun place. There's not the, whatever that is over in, yeah, the dumpster fire there. TikTok, they're looking at, in order, watch time, shares, saves, comments, and likes. Did you watch the video? Number one. Did you share it with other people? Almost as good as watching it. But how many people watched it? How many people shared? Likes are almost useless. And I would say on almost every platform, honestly, it's better to have likes than not, but it is so easy to like that it's almost useless. Unless you're going to spend the time actually going back and interacting with the people who liked the post. I would not spend a lot of time measuring that. It's just, the platforms are like, yeah, okay, fine, great, that was a random thing. But could you get somebody to take the time to make a comment? Can you create content that someone will reshare? I will tell you my favorite cheat. No, I was going to say turn the camera. No. I have a group of about 10 friends. We are in a chat on LinkedIn. Every time one of us publishes an article, we put the link. Well, we don't do all the content we share because the feed would be ridiculous, but we pick about one piece of content a week that we're really excited about. We put it in the chat, and everybody sees it, clicks on it, goes to the post, and comments. I mean, we do like it. So my favorite posts always start with 5 or 6 comments. That helps gain the visibility. That's my favorite cheat. Now, LinkedIn hates that, so don't tell people I said that, but it works. Okay. I know I just spent I don't know how much time telling you social search, social search, social search. Here's the other side of it. Google is not dead. When asked, people still rank search engines for reliable information significantly higher than social or, God help us, chatbots. Part of it is the fact that when you do search, you get access to information from multiple sources, and the second thing is the map function. I need a dentist near me. When you have that search, you're still going to search engines. So, in a world where that's the case, what do you do? Number one, voice-friendly search. People are searching from their phones. They're searching from Alexa. So you need to, as you're writing your content, think about how people will ask for your service. Something like 50% of all searches every day are first-time, one-of-a-kind kind of searches, because somebody phrases something just slightly different. So, voice-friendly search. Those very perfectly written blog posts, particularly if you're in a tech, an engineering, a legal profession where your higher-ups think you need to sound just so, fine, do it on the homepage, but then get real somewhere else on your website where you're talking like human beings talk. Your blog posts are probably the best place to do that because you can have more natural language, more human language that is likely to show up in search. User search intent. This is really interesting. Google has been focusing a lot on what people are looking for. And I think Neil Patel and a couple other people are saying that the intent is shifting. People stress out about words like best furnace repair or easiest way to do whatever. Those are fairly high on the purchase cycle. You know, that's sort of those first searches. Those are informational searches. They are not necessarily purchase intent. Just because I'm looking for the best flooring contractor does not mean I'm ready to buy. There are other phrases that people are more likely to use when they get closer. So, how much does it cost? How long will it take to do this? You know, what are the installation issues? For every product, there are questions that are the informational, and then you move further down and they're the transactional. Focusing more on search intent words. That's really where Google has said they're biasing. So pay attention to, again, in your blog posts, you got to cover the spectrum. In your content, you have to have a little bit of everything. But we have been conditioned to spend 90% of our time on the top of the funnel, and the algorithm is saying, you know, we really want to see you move down a little bit. I love this one. Answer engine optimization. There's now a term for it. I don't know, for about 7 or, well, maybe a decade, I've been talking about content-based SEO, about writing content to answer questions real people have, not worrying about what search engines are looking for, because it doesn't matter. Because you take care of the search engine, then people get to your website, and if your website doesn't answer their real questions, they ain't going to stay and you're not going to sell anything. So now there's a whole thing, people have created a term for it. It's called answer engine optimization. And basically what this is Google finally doing exactly what I said they should have been doing all along. Stop worrying about keywords and start worrying about and focusing on the questions real people have and answering them on your website. Do this experiment. Take what you think are the top 10 questions that people ask all the time about your product or service. Go to Google and start to type the question in. Have you ever seen, and people also ask, and people also ask, and take a bunch of those questions. Look at them, figure out which of these are really great questions, and then go to the search bar on your website and type in one of those questions. And what comes up? We were working with a flooring contractor, and the question that they got asked all the time is, why do I need to replace my subfloor? Guess what? When I typed that question, which was their number one question, which was coming up time and time again on Google, you want to know how much content on their website dealt with that? Do that, because that's how you will win search going forward. Again, you can have pages, you can have an FAQ section on your website that links to individual blog posts that answer, how does a whole house humidifier work? Why do I need a subfloor? Which is better, cannellini beans or navy beans, or are they the same thing? Whatever the questions are in your business, answer them, because that's how you're going to win search going forward. You're not going to win search with furnace plus repair. You're going to win search for, why does my house smell funny the first time I turn my furnace on in the winter? Because that's voice-friendly search, answer optimization. And then the last thing is, as you're creating videos, wherever you're putting them, SEO, optimize them the way you would a picture. Think about the name. This is exhausting. Think about the name of your video. Think about the description you put, whether it's on YouTube or wherever else. Help Google understand what that video is about. Okay, I beat that horse to death. Let's keep going. Maybe? No, I can't. It doesn't. Well, it doesn't want to go to the next one. Hold on. There we go. You can't leave. Clearly I can't. We're living in a zero-click world. I know I just talked all about social search. Here's the other reality. None of the platforms want you to leave. Bless you. They are all penalizing you for outbound links. Here's kind of what it looks like. Somewhere between 20 and 60, and I know that's a broad number, but I've looked at like 4 different studies. Everybody has their own number, so I have to keep it wide because I don't know who's right. But somewhere between 20 and 60% of people search for something on Google, and they never leave. They get their answer, they get the information they wanted, and they never went to another page. Social platforms, they all prioritize native content. These platforms, Google, Facebook, and YouTube, they prioritize, and LinkedIn and Twitter, they allow you to have content, but they penalize you. Quora, oh, I forgot what that little one is. Reddit, thank you, it's not my world. Quora, Reddit, and Pinterest, they don't currently penalize you for outbound links. They're still like, it's okay, you can have people come and go. As a matter of fact, Pinterest really wants that. That is the fuel to their engine. But these guys, priority for native content. And here, unless you're paying for advertising, you're not leaving the platform. You're not. So this is the world that we're living in. So how do you play? How do you operate in this world? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to adjust your expectations. The combination of zero-click in the algorithm with GDPR, with the apps cutting off third-party data means that you can't reliably track the way you did 2 and 3 years ago the traffic that's coming from social to your website and moving through your site. The pixels just, Apple is at war with Google, is at war with Facebook. They're not sharing data the way they used to. So you don't really have that same knowledge of, are they clicking through, and I'm being penalized when they do. So you have to almost take a step back and go, okay, is my marketing working? How am I going to tell? And what are my marketing objectives going to be? And to some extent, we're back where we were 10 years ago, where your objectives need to be engagement. It needs to be interaction. When social media first started, that's what we paid attention to. Likes, fans, followers, communities. And then we got sophisticated and went, yeah, that's just vanity. Well, right now, that's mostly what you got. So as you're playing with that, things that I'm going to talk about how you win on Google and zero-click, and I'm going to talk about ways on social. On social. With Google, it is about localizing your content. That is what's winning. Now, if you have a national brand, I'm sorry. I mean, you have some other challenges. But if you are primarily serving local markets, your content needs to let people know that. We're the best marketing firm. Great. Where? We do cement contracting. You need to have content on your website that talks about a case study in Marion County and a case study in Hamilton County. And oh, by the way, we were in Zionsville the other day, and here's a picture of our project in Zionsville. We did the accounting for a small business in Denver or Detroit or a suburb outside of Denver or a suburb outside of Detroit. Localized content because Google is giving preference to local providers. Obviously, you optimize your Google Maps page, blah, blah, blah. The same thing, your meaningful titles and meta descriptions, it used to be about stuff the keyword up front, and then in the meta description, that 160 characters, use your keyword at least twice. In a zero-click world, that doesn't work. If all you're going to do is look at my content as you come through search, My title has to tell you what the content is about. And my meta description has to answer your question. That's my only shot. You're not clicking through. The best I can do is create an impression while you're there. So you need to think about rewriting your meta descriptions, particularly on your primary pages, away from, Indianapolis best law firm, blah, 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 and start thinking about what are people looking for? What do they want to know? And get that. And then the other thing, and this is, you're going to see a lot of this phrase, it was eat and now it's eat, but it is content that demonstrates your experience, so your longevity in whatever field you're talking about, your expertise, demonstrating not just that you've been doing it for a while, but you actually know what you're doing, authoritativeness, and trustworthy. And Google is actually ranking content on a series of EAT factors. I can't say eat because it just, whatever. And the last thing on Google is featured and rich snippets. You see them. Now this is SEO level 2, because you can't just create these. You have to have some kind of plugin or software on your website that is doing this. Featured snippets and rich snippets. The featured snippet actually has more information. It actually answers the question. Rich snippets typically have just these little bits of information, like little ranking systems. Once you get through some of the basic stuff, you need to be talking to your web team about how hard it's going to be to add the capability, because then once you add the capability, then you have to go in and do it page by page by page. So this is not to be taken lightly, but it is something that you definitely want to be considering, because people are not leaving Google. If they're not leaving Google, how much can you tell them on the page? Okay, with social media, you need to think about creating standalone value. When you're creating social media content, social media posts, Brandon, how much time do I have and how much time have I wasted?
5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes. Okay, we're not going to get through everything, sorry. I didn't think I had that many slides, but clearly I had a lot to say. Standalone value, you have to think storytelling. When you're creating this content and you're thinking about some keywords and optimizing the content, to make your content interesting, you need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end in your post. There has to be a reason to read through all the way through the content. Put your punchline up front. First 3 seconds of your video, headlines. Think like newspaper people again. If you've ever read a long newspaper article, you have the summary, and then they go back and they detail it, and by the time you're done, you're thinking, I've already read this. That's the same way you need to think about your social media. Short, focus on building your brand. People are going to have limited attention spans, so you have this, I need to get them interested. I need to answer their question, but if I go on too long, they're going to get bored. So that's why put your punchline up front. Create a story that encourages them to read more. Think about a series of posts. Captions. 85% of videos on Facebook are played with sound off. Captions are mandatory. The nice thing is AI will generate them. I don't really like, a lot of times, the AI-generated captions move too fast. One of the tricks I do is I actually take off the AI-generated caption and I put on a shorter caption that isn't everything the speaker is saying, but still gives you the content. I find it less disorienting. And then engaging, and I've already talked about DMs, so I'll skip that. And say goodbye to the cookie. Chrome, Safari, Firefox, they're all fighting, they're putting restrictions on it. So you really need to be thinking about measuring your results without it. I was going to talk about snack-sized content. I'm going to just very briefly talk about the fact that you've got to start with long content. And that long content has to live on your website. The long video, the long blog post that you're then going to slice up and dice up and break up into small pieces and use in other places. But at the end of the day, with all of this, even though the rules are changing, your website needs to be your home base. It needs to be your point of authority. You're going to make lots of friends everywhere else, but sooner or later you want to invite your date home. And home is your website. You have my little fish there. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Start with long form. Blog posts. Oh my God, who has time to write 1,500 words? Well, you don't have time to write 1,500 words if you're doing it 5 days a week. You don't have to. Write a blog post once a week, once every other week. Make it valuable. What do you do the rest of the time? Go back and find those other blog posts that were doing well that seem to be falling off the radar and add content. Google loves when you update content. And it gives you an opportunity to create a new graphic, a new social share, and again, bring traffic back to that post. You're going to have my presentation, Brandon. You can send it out as in the follow-up email because there's some nice stuff here. Vertical video, I'm actually having a lot of luck with the 4x5 video rather than the full reel size. It looks better and it looks great on mobile and it's just a lot easier to work with. And it also displays nicely on platforms like LinkedIn that used to do the full width. It works really well there. Okay, I really just want to show you 2 slides on the rise of the machine because we are AI'd to death. Basically, everybody is jumping on board. What are they jumping on board with? Well, editing, huge. 86% of people this year say they're going to use AI to edit. But even in things here, generating images, edit images, across the board, the increase, AI is everywhere. And I can talk about what they're doing. This is what I want to leave you with. AI is faster and cheaper, but is it better? 96% of the time, this was from a survey at HubSpot, 96% of the time marketers say that the content, whatever they create from AI, is not complete. It needs that human touch. And if you're thinking you can get away with it and not human touch it, 62% of consumers say they're less likely to engage with and trust content if they know it was created by AI. And also as part of that same study, people are pretty convinced they can tell. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But why risk it? And so I think AI, the takeaway on this is you need to use AI, you need to be experimenting with it, but you need to also be managing the overlay. If you're curious, I actually have this great list of articles, everybody talking about sort of the future of digital marketing, what digital marketing is going to be like in 2024. A lot of articles on AI. If you leave me one of your business cards, I'll be happy to send it to you. And if you're curious, if you want to learn more, if you want to hear some of the other conversations that we didn't have time for before, check out my podcast. More Than a Few Words is available wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, morethanafewwords.com. And it's I alternate episodes with me doing a 1-minute rant or a 10-minute conversation with digital marketing experts from around the world. With that, I think we're going to take a break. I'll be around, I can ask questions, and I think we have time for questions afterwards as well. Awesome.